So again, hello and welcome everybody to this amazing, powerful and educational Lunch and Learn, which is brought to you by Family Partners of Morris in Sussex County. Here, this is your host, Patricia Houston, and today is joining me from SPAN, Director of Family and Professional Development, Jeannine Brinkley. Welcome, Jeannine, and thank you very much for being here with us.
Well, thank you for having me and helping folks learn more about SPAN. You may notice my phone number I put in the chat is a 412 phone number because I actually live in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, but I work remotely. And I've been with SPAN for almost 2 years now. Prior to that, I did many other things. I worked in Pennsylvania for about 32 years as for the Department of Education, doing teacher and parent training. And then I also was the director of the Appeal Center, which is an organization similar to SPAN, but in Pennsylvania. So I'm happy to be working with the terrific people at SPAN.
Awesome. And we are very happy to have you here. And I know the information that you're going to be sharing with us today is going to be amazing and people are going to use that information. So thank you very much. So Jeannine, let's go and jump right into the topic. Would you please tell us a little bit what is SPAN?
Yes, SPAN Parent Advocacy Network is our formal name, and we are a nonprofit organization based in Newark, but we've been around for about 35 years. We're just getting ready to celebrate our 35th anniversary. Started as a very small organization and has grown to a very large organization that serves families and professionals in New Jersey. But also we have some national and regional projects as well. I'm going to focus in primarily today on the New Jersey services that we offer. We do have, our offices in Newark, but we also have staff deployed around different areas of the state. So we try to make sure that we reach as many families as possible. We provide information, resources, support, and advocacy assistance to families. We do not provide actual advocates to go to a meeting with a family. We don't have that service right now. But we also work with professionals, policymakers, and others, other partners, such as your organization. We try to partner with community organizations to make sure we're reaching the families that need our services the most. One more thing I would say is that we really have a vision that all families will have the resources and support they need to ensure that their children become fully participating and contributing members of our communities and society. And we focus in on families that have the greatest need due to either disability or special health care needs, financial instability, discrimination, families who have kids involved in foster care or juvenile justice systems, geographic location, and other special circumstances.
Awesome. So Jeannine, I know that you just based it in relation to the resources that you guys have available, but let's just elaborate a little bit more in detail about, what resources are available through SPAN the family can expect. I know that you just mentioned it, but I just want to touch on it.
That's okay. I have a lot more specifics for you. No problem. Our website has hundreds, literally, of downloadable resources that are related to early childhood and early intervention, education and special education, parent leadership, healthcare and special healthcare needs. That also includes mental health and many, many more. I want to just put a plug in. Next week, we have a new website launching. It's going to be much more accessible and more easily searchable to find resources. We're very excited about that. So if you've never been to our website, wait till Tuesday to go because you'll see a brand spanking new website. Many of our resources are available in Spanish, and some are also available in multiple languages. In addition, we have a WARMLINE. I think most people, when they hear SPAN, they think about the WARMLINE. It is a WARMLINE that families or professionals can contact and get individual assistance. So family resource specialist reaches back out to a person and can talk them through questions. If you don't understand your child's IEP, if you think your child might need to have an evaluation, you're not sure how to go about that, healthcare issues, transition to adulthood, etc. And we also offer many workshops for families and professionals. We've been primarily offering virtual workshops through the pandemic, but we're starting back into offering some in-person workshops. And we on various topics. Some examples are things like understanding your basic rights. What are the key components to the IEP? What are education and healthcare rights in the juvenile justice and child protection systems, and many others. I'm going to later show you a link to our Eventbrite page. And if you follow us on Eventbrite, then you get notified anytime we schedule a workshop.
You know, and that's why I was asking you that question, because I know SPAN has a lot of resources the family can utilize, but a lot of people are not familiar with those resources. So that question was important in relation to family fully understanding the vast of the resources that you guys have.
Absolutely. We also do publish a weekly e-newsletter called The Bridge and El Puente. It's in English and Spanish, and we highlight news items or new resources and SPAN events. So later you'll have an opportunity, if you don't receive that newsletter, to subscribe to that, and you get that newsletter each week. Keeps you posted on what's going on.
Great. And Jenny, what is the process to get involved with SPAN?
So it depends on what kind of involvement you want to have. If you are looking for individual assistance, you can either call our toll-free number and leave a voicemail, or you can send an email. There's a link prominent on our website, and calls are returned by a family resource specialist. We target to return calls within 48 hours if possible. Some busier times it might take a little longer than that. But when you leave your message too, if it's something urgent, like a child is out of school or being suspended, something like that, a child, you're concerned about your child's safety, then if you say that in the message, we prioritize those calls to get called back. We also have bilingual family resource specialists who can provide assistance in Spanish, and we use the language line to assist families who might speak another language. Other ways you can get involved is many times a parent group or a community group might ask to host a virtual or in-person workshop. We often have a special ed parent advisory group or CPAG that says, we would like to have a workshop at our meeting to draw in more families. And we work with you to figure that out, either virtually or in person. And we also, we go to community events. So we'll have a table and bring SPAN materials and resources and talk with families. So if you're aware of any, opportunities like that, you could let us know, and we'll try to get a table there with a volunteer and or a staff person, or sometimes we partner up. And speaking of volunteers, we do definitely have volunteer opportunities, both virtual and in person as well. So those are some different ways you can get involved with SPAN.
Jeannine, you mentioned it, we know that SPAN is a nonprofit organization, but let's talk, because a lot of people, they might not understand how that works. So let's just discuss it a little bit in relation to how much does it cost, just for people to be clear about, if there is any cost involved.
Sure. So our services are generally provided at no charge to families and professionals that work with families. Because we're funded by a variety of federal and state grants, so we don't have to charge. Occasionally, there might be a charge if we were going to offer something in person and maybe provide lunch, and we didn't have the resources to do that. But we generally provide the things at no charge. If a group, either a group of families or a group of professionals or mixed group, wants to have something that's customized for their group, maybe it's a topic we don't typically present, then there could be a fee involved, but that's unlikely. And it's very rare that we charge a fee for our workshops.
Great, that's amazing. And let's discuss a little bit in relation to the process to get involved with SPAN, and also if there is an get approved to receive services, what that process look like.
You really don't have to get approval. We try to help everybody who reaches out to us. Even, sometimes we'll get a call from someone from another state. We try to get them connected with the resources in their state, or sometimes we'll get contacted by our service. Our services are supposed to serve families who have children and young people ages of birth to 26. That's our target audience, but sometimes we'll get a call from someone who has a young person that's older than 26, and then we try to get them connected with other systems that can help them. So you really don't have to get approval. It's just a question of the volume of calls and, you know, how quickly we can get back to you. But as I said earlier, we definitely prioritize situations where a child is not in school or their health is at risk or their safety, those kind of things, when we have high volume call times.
I'm glad that you highlighted those details because those are important information for sure. And in relation, because like you said, like you guys have a lot of resources and, you know, services, and you guys try to do as much as you guys can. Is there any additional services that you would like families or providers to know?
Sure, I'll highlight a couple things, and then when I show the resources at the end, you'll see in written information about these. One of the things we're very proud of is we have something called the SPAN Resource Parent course, and we offer it several times a year in English and once a year in Spanish. Right now it's virtual, but we're preparing to move into delivering it in a hybrid fashion, probably in the spring. It's an 8-week long course. We have weekly Zoom sessions, as well as participants work in a Google Classroom in between the weekly Zoom sessions to complete readings and assignments. It is open to families and professionals at no charge if they commit to volunteering for SPAN for 30 hours after they complete the course. There is a fee if somebody doesn't feel they can commit to volunteering. That's fine, they can pay the fee to take the course. We have a course starting actually on September 12th. So I'm going to show you the information for that at the end in case any of you would be interested in passing it on to your families or you know, registering yourselves. It's a nice foundational understanding. You get a foundational understanding of special education, of different processes that happen during that time, advocacy, how to tell your story, some things about healthcare advocacy, and people usually really value that. We also have a YouTube channel that has many recorded videos and webinars. And I just wanted to highlight, we had a special education mini conference last week, or maybe the week before last, time flies. And it had back to school topics such as, you know, how you can advocate for mental health equity in your child's school. Also how you can partner more effectively with your child's school team. There was a session on updated disciplinary guidance for kids with disabilities, and those recordings will be available on our YouTube channel in the near future. We caption everything in English and Spanish on that channel as well. We're also very active on social media, so I will share some links to our YouTube channel, social media, and website at the end of the conversation. And the final thing is, I want to make sure I mention that we offer opportunities for families, and we work with youth and young adults to build their leadership and advocacy skills in various ways. So we do work with youth and young adults ages 14 to 26 directly to develop leadership.
That's great. And another thing is, Jeannine, we do know that families, providers, you know, everybody want to be involved, and, you know, everybody is trying to do their best in helping the youth and the family. But let's discuss the importance for caregivers to be the primary great advocates on behalf of their family's needs. Let's go over that, please.
Absolutely. And I actually have a sister. My sister has a disability, and I'm one of her caregivers. So I definitely have lived experience with this as well as professional experience. But the most important thing is that families and caregivers are the constant in a child or young person's life. They know the child best, and they can highlight the child's strengths. They have a long view, whereas, you know, maybe each year you get new teachers, but the family and caregiver has the whole perspective of the history and the future. Caregivers are required members of the teams that evaluate children and develop an IEP. And there are different ways they can contribute and advocate for their child. They can share information about their child's strengths and needs and how they learn, just from what they've observed at home and in other settings. Another thing that caregivers can do that's so important is they communicate high expectations to both the child themselves and the professionals that are working with that child. They can learn and share information about effective instructional strategies that work for their child, and monitor that child's progress at home and at school. Because again, they see it over from year to year, over time, rather than just a snapshot. The other thing that families can do, not just for their own child, but for others, is to participate in those school and district activities, become active in school and district improvement activities like the Special Education Parent Advisory Council, the PTA or PTSO, and advocate for the school to assist other families, right? So once you get yourself sort of as a strong, confident advocate for your own child, you may want to look to work together with other families to advocate for other students in the school.
Wow, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. Yeah. And we know, Jenny, there are resources, services available for families, but I would like to discuss, why do you think sometimes caregivers might have some challenges advocating for services or resources that can help them to fulfill their goal or their family's needs?
Sure, absolutely. I think caregivers may have challenges, first of all, because they may not be aware of the rights that they have in terms of their child's education and healthcare. And they also may not have an understanding of how the special education process is supposed to work, or how to access healthcare if your child has a chronic condition, something like that. So it, you become a parent, and if you've not experienced those things yourself growing up, for example, then you may not know how to navigate the system. And it can be intimidating too, to participate in like a team meeting where there's one or two parents and caregivers and a whole bunch of professionals, right? You feel like you're kind of in the spotlight. And some caregivers might feel that it's disrespectful to share a perspective that's different from what the professionals are sharing. But it's really important, and that's one of the things we try to help families and caregivers do, is to understand ways to share your perspective in a way that is respectful, but also gets the point across, because oftentimes, again, you know the child best. And unfortunately, some schools are not always welcoming to all caregivers and families. And this could be a barrier, because if you don't feel welcome or comfortable, you're less likely to be involved. But the best way to become a stronger advocate is to learn as much as you can. And that's why SPAN is a great resource to help families do that.
Awesome. And Jeannine, now that we know that SPAN is there and that you guys have great resources and services and a lot of support for families in need, let's go over contact information.
Absolutely. Let me just share my screen here.
Thank you.
I have, sorry, I got to find the right button.
And I just want to remind, as we are waiting for Jeannine, that Jeannine contact information and all that information will be right below the video. So if you guys don't have the opportunity now to write down the information, all that information, once we publish the video, all that information will be right there. So,
right. So this has all of our different contact information. It has our toll-free phone number, the link to our website, and the QR code that's next to it. If you take a picture of that, it'll take you right to our website. You can like us on Facebook. We do a lot of activity on Facebook, as well as Instagram and LinkedIn and Twitter. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel. That way, when we upload new videos, you get notified of that. And again, you can subscribe to our weekly e-newsletter, which is the Bridge. And this QR code, if you take a picture with your phone, will take you right to subscribe for that. So I'll leave this up for just a minute in case folks want to take advantage of those QR codes. And then I have a couple other things to share. Oh, sorry, got carried away there. My computer has a mind of its own sometimes. And I can actually put it back up at the end too. So let me go through the other things, and then I'll put this back up and leave on the screen for people. So this is the SPAN Resource Parent training that I mentioned. And actually, I'll put a link in the chat to the registration for that. Okay, and it starts, as I said, on September 12th. It's going to be meeting Monday evenings from 6:30 to 8. And then the other classwork you complete at your own convenience during the week. Okay, I can't say one thing and do another, and I can't read my own writing.
It's okay.
Right.com. There you go. So that's the registration link. I'm going to hit send here. But I would encourage you, if you know any families who might be interested or benefit, to suggest that they apply to participate. It's a really great comprehensive training, and it really helps build families' confidence. And also you get to interact with other families from around New Jersey. Then just a couple of our youth activities I wanted to mention. We have what's called the SPAN Youth Hub. It's a blog, and we encourage you to join, young people especially, to join the blog and to check out the information, resources, and conversations. We also have a youth chat, which is starting back up actually next week on Wednesdays. And we were doing it at 3 to 3:30. Whoops. Geez, oh man. We were doing it from 3 to 3:30 when kids were at home, you know, doing school from home. But we have a poll right now to find out from young people, youth and young adults, what time would be best for them. So it's just basically like a 1-question poll. So if you want to, if you have any youth or young adults that you work with that might be interested, have them use that QR code and just share their preference for the time. But it's great. It's facilitated by one of our youth leaders. And we also have some young people who are self-advocates who help co-facilitate. And there's sort of like a topic each week. And it's an informal discussion. It's only a half-hour long. And we're really excited to rejuvenate and restart that in the fall. And then lastly, this is my contact information. You can reach out to me if you have any questions that you come to you afterward. And also, if you're interested in hosting a workshop or learning more about our workshops, you can reach out to me as well. Email is definitely the best way to reach me, but you also have my phone number there as well. And I just really appreciate the opportunity, Patricia, to share this information with the group.
No, thank you. Thank you. And actually, we are very happy that you took the time to be here with us. And Jeannine, I know that we almost moving to the Q&A session, which is not recorded. Any final thoughts that you would like to share with us in here?
I'll share one thought because I heard somebody say there with the mobile response team. We have a couple resources we recently updated for mental health, helping family navigate the mental health system, the behavioral health system, as well as a fact sheet about what to do in a mental health crisis. And also we have a number of one-page fact sheets that are very informative for families as well. So I hope you check our website out and look for those, and appreciate you all being here.
Thank you very much. And on behalf of Family Partners, I just want to thank every single person in here, and to you, Jeannine, for taking the time doing this presentation for us. And we're just gonna move to the Q&A session. Like I mentioned before, that part is not recorded. And at this moment, we're gonna conclude this presentation. Thank you very much. And I'll see you in our Q&A session. Thank you.